Welcome back, everybody. I'm going to crack open an editor here, and we're going to try and make something. At first I was debating on using ZZT's actual editor, the built-in one from 1991, but it's really rough these days. Even if you're not using any of the fancier stuff that modern editors provide, it lacks a lot of basic quality of life stuff, like just being able to zip the cursor around by more than one tile at a time like this. So I'm gonna stick with KevEdit, which is my editor of choice. It is not the only ZZT editor out there. All this stuff you can easily get on the Museum of ZZT. I suppose I should actually drop a few links. First and foremost, getting ZZT itself, you need something like this. This has links to ZZT, source ports like Classic Zoo, and the Zeta emulator that lets you run the DOS versions on Windows and other modern operating systems. For KevEdit, I also have an old tutorial here, text-based. Oh, hang on, I almost linked page 3 of 1. And between those two things, that should be enough to get you started. But of course, we have a Discord as well. You can go to the museumofzzt.com website. Be a Discord link in the top right. You can always join the community and feel free to ask any questions you have. We love seeing new faces there. We love seeing new games, be they experienced ZZTers or not. If this old man can make a game, you can make one too. Let's see, let's get out of Darbytown here. I did something shocking late last night before bed. Made a little outline once in my life. My plan here, I'm gonna make basically a 9-board game, still somewhat set in a strange little town like Darby was. Let's start down here in the corner. Have a little warm-up board, introduce players to how to move and shoot, as well as what their goal is going to be. Come over to a board here with a couple of different monsters to fight. I'm going to try and do a lot of stuff where we'll be able to see things that are out of reach, so we have to return to these boards from different angles or with keys. Come to the player, show them something that they can't yet have, like the gems in the cathedral, kind of. And we'll do something a bit more obstacle focused with blink walls and spinning guns. I mean, we saw some good blink walls and spinning guns in that cathedral, actually. And I'm thinking another board here. I don't really know what I would describe it as, but it'll have a little shop in the corner, and I've decided that you'll have to spend money at the shop to buy some torches. Here the game will split, will open up a little bit. We'll be able to proceed into the center of town, where I decide we'll have a park. Or we can head here to a dark transporter maze. Get this key here, or this guy back here. Like I said, purple keys are kind of the traditional goal, and we saw that in Darbytown as well. But I don't like the fact that you can only carry one at a time. I don't want players to have to constantly run back and forth. So I'm going to change it up and use some objects instead, and we'll pick up some items. Got some ideas for what we'll be doing with that. Park, it'll open up a few paths. I have one of these guys here. Let you do some easier backtracking here, so you can open that key. Thinking of also doing something here to make this like a one-way trip. Thinking of a winding figure 8 kind of path here. With duplicators, so infinite monster generations coming out from the middle. That goes. Do a bit of a puzzle board. The puzzle is the one thing that I did design in advance. It's not going to be super complicated or difficult. Then we're going to do something with using bombs to blow up walls and reach a goal. And then I think that'll be it. Afterwards, you'll loop back through here one last time and achieve goal, whatever that may be. That's my plan. I don't know how quickly we can get through all that. Like I said, I think I'm going to make this a multi-parter. I'm not going to call it December 13th or December 14th. I don't know what I'm going to call it. So right now it's just going to be called Game. And this is our title screen, so that's not super helpful either. So let's just start things up with Kev Edit again, preferred editor of choice. It roughly mimics the original ZZT editor, but adds a lot more convenience and power features. There's enough overlap. Still use F1 function keys, open up menus, and pick what you want to plop down on the board. For lions, or ammo, all that stuff, or walls. It's got a big custom pattern buffer, and the traditional elements. It's got more color than vanilla ZZT provides, but I don't really feel like using a lot of that. I don't want to focus too much on that. Probably how I'm going to start here. Start with our Southeast board. I'm just going to call it Southeast, because I don't like warm-up as a board title. We need to move our player with F1 to open that item menu, which is where the player is in the default editor, so it's where they are here. ZZT doesn't like you having more than one player on the board, so it'll just try and move the original player instead, but not too difficult to get multiple players, and weird things happen that absolutely are not necessary for a town or Darbytown style kind of game. I'm gonna fence in our player here through the patterns. Shift P to move forward, Shift P to move back. Go back to some normal walls here. I'm just gonna add a bit of a border. Again, being able to hold Alt makes this a much faster process than actually tracing out the entire border. What I've decided is I was thinking like some traffic cones will impede the player. Make some objects for creature, for object, sorry, habit to go very fast, especially since usually when I'm streaming these I am on a time limit for a competition. Here, pick a character, look at all these options, but let's not kid ourselves. That's a traffic cone. Yeah. We're actually gonna, you know what, start with an object. Here's how objects work. You get a blank screen for code. First, we tell it not to do anything, so it doesn't automatically do things. End command. Add the touch label. Kev Edit comes with a nice copy of the help file that's been enhanced a bit as well. Good reference, and there's plenty more references on the museum itself. Touch these cones. We'll have them just say that it's a traffic cone. Traffic cone. That's all we gotta do. Run out of code. It'll automatically display the message at the bottom of the screen. Nice little arrangement there. I'm gonna make a bit of a street up here. Hit delete to get rid of some tiles. We'll corral this off a bit more. Some line walls. You can use tab to turn on drawing also. It makes it easier to... I guess I did that earlier with the border and didn't say. I'm gonna have... I want there to be something here at the end. Like I said, I want to show things to the player that they're not allowed to have, so they have to wonder. I know I'm kind of jumping the gun here, starting with something that you're going to reach at the end, but... Our color here. This be our... That's like... This is where our goal is going to be. I think we're going to make the Darbytown statue kind of thing a little more actually important and not just a key. I'm thinking let's draw. What I was thinking of doing is finding missing pieces of a statue. Up here. Started changing it. Like, I was thinking a cane, a top hat, and that's as far as I got because it's still a purple key. So we're going to leave room so those things can appear later. For now, I'm just going to put some invisible walls where they'd appear. That's just the terrain menu. I don't want this to be identically colored to Darby, though. Let's make them purple. Let's see, that's our head. We'll use a boulder for the body. This is the human figure. Some splashes for legs. Now this looks like a person. Let's see. I have one arm extending out. Maybe where the cane would go. Have to either be something on his hand or something on his feet. Oh, that's right. I did come up with something, but I didn't actually get it. I was thinking of like tap dancing shoes because this guy seems a bit vaudevillian with his cane and top hat. But then I was thinking maybe a bow tie would be nice. He's gonna have a very tall neck, but that's okay. Bow tie will go here. We can also all these custom slots in our pattern buffer there on the right side. We can just hit insert and put whatever's under the cursor in there. Easier to work with existing things. We'll hit enter on here. Change our character. Bend this arm a little bit. There we go. This looks like a proud man with a long neck. You mean, wait, what? What are you learning here? I'm going to make this a little taller also, because I was planning to keep the player out. No, insert to put it in the pattern buffer. Sorry, space to actually put things down, whatever you have selected. Do some text here to make a little wall here. F4 is the text tool, and then you can type. Spell. Just like that. Do a great job like me. You can use F to flood fill an area also, which again speeds things up a little bit. I'm a bit of a stickler for symmetry. And this is very clearly not. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's make this a little wider. So if we hold shift, we can select a region. When I say 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We want 3 more? 3. This. Yeah. Grab all of this. Plenty of stuff. Let's make sure the pattern buffer is on an empty tile. And with all that stuff highlighted, Control X. Like anything else, we'll cut. Control V will paste. Move things around. Like I said, I want 3. Rearrange our roads a bit. Change our pattern back to the line walls. Fill this in. Not liking how this looks now, though, with this connected to it. So I'm going to change that. Yes, there's no undo in this. I forget, does ZEdit 2 have undo? That's the other big editor these days. It has, excuse me, it has a very different interface. But I am so used to KevEdit at this point and ZZT's own editor. Always stick with this. You know what? These stripes look a bit parking lot-like. Draw some lines. And again, my symmetry. Please, I demand symmetry. This way. Grab a bunch. Copy and paste. Now we know. Again, hold Alt. Ooh, did this actually work out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, great. Love it. Okay. I want to move fast. But if you're truly daring, you could try drawing like a car in this shape, and it ain't easy. There's been a million cars drawn in ZZT, and making them look good, not an easy task. Okay, I wanted... Let's see, let's imply that you entered town through here. Another kind of blocked off gate. We could. I'm mostly not, just because the decorative elements aren't the highest priority just yet. I guess I'm feeling cyan today. That doesn't really look like any. Let's do some sliders. That looks a bit more like something that might tumble. I want to teach the player how to proceed. Let's give them some items. I guess actually this could be a good use for our little parking lot section. Give them some stuff. They can figure it out from there. Our item menu, we'll get some ammo. 5 shots a pop. 30 ammo. And you know what? Instead of having these be solid walls, we'll make them fakes. That's going to be in the terrain menu. A for fake. F is forced. And put it in the pattern buffer. Use the blood fill. Can't hear. Then you'll be able to get in there. I mean, we can just raise that up a little bit too. So we'll do that. There. Good as new. Now, I was saying in the setup, I want torches to be something you have to buy, so I'm not going to give them any torches. Suppose our next introduction, teach them how gems work. Get some bright green gems. Do the same kind of thing. Without torches, there's not a lot of options here. We'll give them a key. We'll teach them how keys and doors work. Somewhat. Red key here. You're using... Well, actually, I guess CavEdit does too. The default door color is rather unfortunately just solid white on a dark color to match the lock. Dark red here, but... I'm in my late 30s, and so it can be really tough to tell what colors you're looking at here from a distance. So, good trick if you're using something like CavEdit. If you press D, you can shut off the default color mode and get unrestricted colors. Do something a bit more clear. Oh, I didn't even notice the hydrate. Well, I'll still hydrate, but no drowning. But if for whatever reason you're just using the default doors, you can always just add like a bit of door trim. Very clearly, all red. Do something like that. I think we'll have a guy here. We'll code him up later. Oh, no background color, please. This gentleman. won't do anything yet. But they'll tell us what we need to do, or they'll take our items as we find them, and they'll be responsible for making all the parts of the missing parts of the statue show up. Actually, you know what? Let's give them that tall neck. We'll have a bow tie appear. We'll have the character change. It's time to do that. Vertical neck. The tallest possible neck. Maybe we could do a tie. And do that in place of the body. Let's do that. Because I think Mr. Tallneck stops looking quite human when you do it like that. These things down. Press delete to destroy whatever. Clear out my pattern buffer a bit here. And yeah, so we'll start with that. Have this thing change appearance all the time. Want the player to figure out a little bit about how to navigate this space. We don't need the board to be this huge. Let's make it a little less right angled. Classic ZZT shading from town. Do this outline of normal walls, and then you fill it with breakables of a matching color. I would like a very gentle introduction to danger. Let's build this area out a little bit. Show them breakable walls also, so they shoot. Then here we'll put in very gentle starting enemy. F2 for creatures, L for lion. Turn their intelligence down so that they don't really chase down the player. They'll just kind of move completely randomly. Downside is that makes them a lot harder to hit. They may just move a mile away from your bullets. There we go. 3 lions. Now we saw in Darbytown also, the only way we got health was through gems, which is always just 1 point at a time. It means you need to pick up a lot of gems to even mitigate a single attack. So, again, we're going to solve this with objects. A little heart. Everybody loves a good heart. Heart's a popular choice for something that looks like healing. Upside down exclamation mark. Popular potion character. Games have used the function sign to mean food. Do whatever you want, man. Like, you just make it like a lowercase o and say it's a donut. Go nuts. What do you want? Do not force yourself to follow ZZT tradition. It's a lot of fun seeing how people interpret the characters, especially when they don't have like a lot of experience with other ZZT games. So they get to make up their own ideas instead of just following convention. Let's do that actually. Instead of a heart. People, what would heal you? Ampersand for a pretzel. You know, that's a... You can get a hot pretzel in the city. I like that idea. Let's do that. Make it not red. If you ever make something the wrong color, well, let's start with coding it, and then we'll see what we do when we say, oh no, I wrote all this code. I don't want to delete the objects. We'll solve that puzzle. With a line under it for bread. Does that look bread-like? Wait. Which one is the A with a line under it? Oh, this guy. Okay, the forgotten characters. Bread. I don't see bread in that myself, but I won't stop you. Okay, we're gonna make an object that does something. An ampersand, or an ampersand, at sign, Orla. Give it a name. Not gonna matter in this case, because we're not gonna pop up a window, so we'll never actually see the name. But it can be helpful to remember what things are. Love a good pretzel. Again, use the end command, tell it not to do anything. Use the touch label. So when the player touches it, it'll jump to here in the code and start running. Say a delicious pretzel. I'll say 20 health. What else? We're going to give the player that health. Leave it with the give command. Give them health, and we're going to give them 20, just like we promised. And then we need the pretzel to disappear. And by disappear, I mean the pretzel must die. One other thing we want to get into here is the cycle of the object, which is basically how quickly it operates. By default, everything runs at cycle 3, and that's not the worst thing for an item, but it means there will be a bit of a delay between the player touching it and the player getting their health and all that. We're going to turn that down to cycle 1 so that it happens basically immediately. Otherwise, it's possible with some longer code to run into issues where the player can keep touching it before it reaches this end of its code, and they can just get a whole bunch of health. That wouldn't happen with this, but we don't need to get into all that just yet. Okay, so we have us a pretzel. Let's make the pretzel play a little sound. Darbytown had a lot of sound to it. I don't know how to do good sound. We use the play command. Good news is sound effects don't take much to get something that sounds half decent. I think actually if we hit F1 when you have a command written, yeah, it'll jump right to the relevant spot too. So we can talk about the duration of the note, this fancy triplet thing, octave, A to G for piano notes, make them sharp or flat. There's some little drum sound effects, all kinds of good stuff. Oh, this actually has a reference for the built-in. Oh, apparently it doesn't. I hit enter here and it's not doing anything. Yeah, we know all this stuff. A lot of the example code is written in all caps. Doesn't need to be. Let's see here. Pretzel sound like C, G, then a higher pitched E. Sounds great. KevEdit does let you test music. It'll test all the music top to bottom, or from where the cursor is at least, so do be careful. And it's not, I don't think it's 100% accurate, but it's like 95% of the way there. It'll definitely work for little sound effects like this. What's this gonna sound like? The fact that I'm getting like 2 different sounds is worrying. This seems correct. That seems fine. Delicious pretzel. Now we have a pretzel. And like I said, uh-oh, our pretzel's red, and we don't want it to be. If we hit Control, Control Enter. If we hit Control T, we You can bring up a tile's like raw properties. We can change this object into anything else, and there's no reason to do that. Keep it an object, please. But here we can change its color directly. Yellow. Mess around with its stats. Again, overly complicated things. Only thing you'd really want to be doing if you're new is doing this to change the color. Current code pretzel. Looking good. Delicious pretzel. Here, well, you know what? We'll introduce forest as well, and we show players that it's something that they can cross that the monsters can't. I think that'll get us a decent enough first board. Let's jumpstart our game a little bit. Almost 30 ammo. Now, technically speaking, if the player wants to be a weirdo, they can shoot 30 ammo at a wall and soft lock their game. This is kind of why you have to just accept ZZT games will soft lock. If the player wants to be that reckless, then there's not really much you can do. If you really want to go crazy, you can give the player a source of ammo or whatever, but like, have some faith in your player. They can save the game. They can start over. It's the first board. Never once gotten the music testing. I do remember for a little while Kev Edits was busted. I was pretty sure that got fixed. Okay, I think that's a good start. I'm gonna recover these legendary artifacts. Yeah, I mean, we could always have this dude give you some more if you're out. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. I think we're gonna move on to board number 2. And you know what? I'm changing my mind with one more thing here, actually, first. I'll move this up to here. Oh. Open this up just a little. Okay. I'm a bit satisfied with that. I think that looks okay. Open the board menu with B. Add a new board. Cool. Monster room. The room with the monsters. We need to actually connect these boards to each other. I'm going to do that with I to open the board information here. It has a couple of properties. A re-enter when zapped will make it so that when the player takes damage, they jump back to wherever they entered the room from. You can add a time limit, which whenever that expires, they lose 10 health. What we saw in Darbytown, where we can limit how many shots can be on the screen at a time from the player. Enemies are not restricted. Generally speaking, you either leave this at default, set it to 1, or set it to 0. But if you want to be like Mr. Bishop and set it to 20, a lot of bullets to be firing at once, you can. We'll leave it at the default here. See, here are adjacent boards. None. We're going to change that. Right, hit enter on here. I'll pick our board. Now, ZZT's default editor, we'd have to go back to the original room and also connect the board that way. Edit will give you a little shortcut here. Asterisk key, you can reciprocate the board links, and that makes it so that this board, southeast, automatically gets told that if you go the west, you'll connect with monsters. Easier to make sure your boards are connected properly. And we saw Darbytown was playing around with board exits where they didn't necessarily connect. You can make it so that going right from our second board takes you to a completely different board instead of the original one. Next thing we want to consider too is making sure that our exits line up. So this is the top of 3 tiles. I'm just over here. Three, 8, 60, 20, 20 to 22, 20 to 22. Okay, our boards are connected. Don't look at that. Do I have any color ideas in yellow and white? Sure, why not? I'll add a yellow border as a fun joke. And exit here. My exits I had in mind. I think I'm still going to keep it towards the bottom, even though here it's up. Like all the way leading up to it. I was thinking for this board we'll have the player defeat all the monsters to be able to proceed. So just as a reminder for ourselves, we'll put something in the way. Spot is blocked. I also want this board to connect to the top here, to the park center board. Towards the right. I'm try and divide this into like 3 thirds. That's the word we use. Divide this board into thirds. Long, I think. How did that line up? Oh, that actually lined up perfectly. Okay. This, I wanted like a narrow band up top. You know what? Let me just take my reference with me. Select it with the shift key and arrows. Copy, Control C. Paste, Control V. Okay, now we can better figure out this shape. Where the heck do I want to put this? So I was thinking like a narrow upper area here. I gotta get this player out of the way. Generally, you want to put them where they enter from. Be out of the way and relevant to help you remind yourself where the player's supposed to start from. That. Here. White. Bet. Let's see our shape here. I was thinking these little pockets will each have some different monsters. Have the player bend north. We want this to be yellow. Taller. Same thing here. See, I mean the default ZZT editor gives every board a yellow border of walls like this. And it did become a thing in the community for that to be seen as a bit tacky. It implies that you're not caring enough to do anything with what's already being provided there. And you know, on the one hand, it is silly to judge a game by that. On the other hand, I have my board looking like this, and I'm like, oh man, this looks bad now. I wanted to challenge myself by including yellow and say, no, it's okay if there's yellow walls on the exterior. I chose it. It's deliberate. And then in practice, I'm just like, I don't. I'm gonna make it red. I'm gonna chicken out. Thank goodness for flood fill. It is an aesthetic, but it's not the aesthetic I want here. This big bowl, kind of curve. More to the right. Okay, I think we're good with this reference. We can always check the original if we need it. Maybe we'll make this more of a spiral. There we go. Or maybe instead of actually destroying all the monsters, we'll have them push a button. Have that. Similarly to how we saw gems turn into ammo. Or gems turn into lions. We'll have some sliders that normally be an obstruction. Go away. Board could use an invisible maze in the center, full of a very large centipede that reveals its shape. Disagree. I do not care for mazes, generally. I got one planned. There's going to be a transporter maze here, because those are fast. Fun in the dark, at least. We could introduce centipedes. Actually, a centipede might be fun for the big spiral here. Something like that. We're going to use, again, some forest. Keep the monsters penned in until the player is ready to actually commit fighting. Here, we'll let some lions kind of fill out. Keep them, make them more aggressive. They're going to focus the player. Highly intelligent. The smartest lions you've ever met. Regular ZZT forces lions to be red. Kev edit, if you do that, press D to shut off default colors. You can make them whatever color you like. We're just going to stick to the classics here. That's a good number. We'll show players lions here. Use them to ruffians. Ruffians will either move rapidly or just chill in one spot for a bit based on their resting time. Leave these guys at default. I gotta admit, like I said, I haven't done any playtesting or anything here yet. So I'm just gonna kind of leave things at the defaults. Assume it's all well and good. And if it's not, figure that out later. I like there being a correct path. Let me... Again, I love my everything being centered and aligned properly. It's not... Do. A bit more like that. You know, like before, breakable walls to... There's that here. Try something a little more complex. Let's make it so once they get the button, temporary button here. Ironically, I do want this to be wider now, like that. Yeah, that bugs me. It bugs me. I get bugged by this kind of stuff. I'll have it so that when they press this button, it'll also get rid of these sliders. This will be their horrible introduction to tigers. As we saw in Darbytown, they can shoot you. Have them keep their distance for the most part. I won't go too crazy with them. Again, so far we've only given the player 30 ammo. We don't know how much ammo they're going to have by the time they make it in here. We could make a button to change all the lines into gems. I'll tell you what, we'll put in a button that instead of getting rid of a slider, make these tigers turn into gems. I'll go with that. I'm okay with that. So this will be a somewhat different button. Let's make it look a little different instead of using... I'm planning on having it look like these two circle characters, depending on if the button's been pressed or not. What else we got? We can use slashes as like a lever. Popular choice. How about an X? Something like that. Okay. Player's definitely going to need more ammo for all this. So let's put some down here as a bit of a stockpile. Maybe where our centipede button goes. Centipedes are fun because they can be any color by default. Oh, he cut off. Head here. Alright, centipedes. Intelligence and deviance. I'm gonna actually start with 0 and 0, because that means this guy will kind of hug the path. With a few of them. Select those. Colored segments for the body. We can attach them. Again, creature menu. Okay, that'll give players something to scare them. Okay. Now it's going to be unpleasant to hit this button and have to go all the way out. Oh, actually, yeah, like we did with the other buttons. The tiger one will also put a little shortcut. Let's do... There we go. Respect the player's time a bit, especially if they ended up shooting all the centipedes. Good. The upper part here, I have... I'm going to go back to my reference. We got the bulk of the board here. Right, I was going to have a locked green door with one of the critical items for the game here. Green. We can squish this down one more tile. That won't hurt. Grab it, cut it, paste it, patch the holes in the walls. Let's do it like that. Cut off our default colors. The background nicer. There we go. I said the bow tie. Oh, we made them purple, right? Make the bow tie red. Bow tie character. Using two of these makes for a nice big bow tie. Or no, that's right. I said regular tie. We were going to do that, so let's go with that. We'll leave that for now. We can code that up later. Let's put in gems and the walls a bit. Put our red button over here. Let's actually make these buttons. You know where they're all going now. Yeah, capital Y is actually not bad. That's got a nice little clip to it too. Start with button. Name our objects. Make sure it doesn't do anything automatically. If you forget your end, it'll just start running the code top to bottom and immediately act as if you touched it because it'll be running. We'll play a little click sound effect where our drums are good. Again, don't know how to do anything good with that. I'm just going to pick 2 of them and hope it sounds decent. Not a fan. That's a button, baby. 6-5. Okay, we are going to change the appearance of this button with the character command, char, of course. We are on 9. I want it to be on 7. So, character 7. Then we need it to change some walls, and we only need... I call it char. I'm not going to call it care. Char command. We're going to change red. Specify a color here. I'm going to change our sliders. 2 kinds, NS, W. We can see KevEdit 2 gives us like some nice syntax highlighting. So, you know, if we had a typo here, we had WE instead of EW. Still kind of gray, because it doesn't recognize that as anything. Here it's nice and lit up, so we know that this matches our elements. I think go here, yeah. We open the help with F1. Just give us a nice little reference. Okay, eventually, yes. What does kind mean? That went to the wrong spot. Turns out KevEdit's help file isn't as good as I thought. What happens if I go to this? Nothing. Okay. We're going to have a word with KevEdit's help file. I think it might be because I'm not like actually in KevEdit's directory. But you can find reference materials elsewhere to learn your element names. A nice overview of everything on the museum as well. Full help article category. We're going to take those red sliders. Oh, not east-west. We want north-south. And we're going to get rid of them. Don't need to specify a color here. Change them into empty. If we want, we can change them into gems or ammo or lions, whatever you want to do. I'm going to do this. Actually, we don't need that end at the end. That's kind of a force of habit of mine. If the code stops, it just makes it easier if we have to update things later. Okay, so one issue we have here is that the player can keep pressing the button, and it'll keep playing the sound effects. And it'll already be the different character, and the sliders will already be gone. So it's not the worst thing in the world here, but it's very common that you want an object to act once and only once when touched. And there's a few ways we can do that. The easiest is the lock command. If an object is locked via this command, it won't be able to receive any kind of external messages. It won't react to being touched, shot, or bombed. If another object tries to tell it to go to a different label, it won't. It basically isolates itself, so with something like this, touch it and you're done. You lock it and you're good to go. Alternatively, we can zap touch, and when you do that, ZZT will actually change its code. Comment out that line, like that. And when you do that means you can add a different touch. Tell it you already pressed the button. So that can be helpful, whichever you prefer. They both work pretty much just as well. This will let you spit out a message or something. And of course, you can also have objects do different things as you touch them multiple times. You can zap touch again, and then zap touch. Please stop touching this button. Don't need that last end. That'll do. We'll have fun with it. The official ZZT health manual says that the editor is meant for creating silly game worlds. So you gotta be silly with it. And this is another case where changing the color will be useful. I'm just gonna use this one already coded object, put it in the buffer, place it down again elsewhere, change it to white. This one, again, only vertical sliders. Edit the code. It'll be white sliders. And then purple. Control T. Pick our new color. We can actually go in from this menu and say, yeah, edit stats, edit program. So again, this is where Kev Edit really helps over the original editor. We also can copy and paste and highlight in here. And just do that instead of having to rewrite the entire line from scratch. Ah. I didn't change the color though. Bug. Bug. Purple. Okay. Good. I want to have some more stuff up here. Or what? Blast away another wall. Out of it. And again. I like my games to look neat. Some more monsters in here. Kind of making quite the action game. Like these ones is aggressive also. More supplies down. A couple extra gems. There. Let's go get our pretzel object from the previous board. That's going to be a nice little source of health. The player will know. Hey, I want that. Let's put it away from the exit, actually, so that the player has to commit to going that way. Okay, that all looks good. Again, we haven't tested this at all. I have no idea if this is way too easy, way too hard, too much ammo, not enough ammo. I'm worried that it's going to be not enough. How about we do something like this then? I'm going to be lazy and make it the purple button. Because that one's already changing the horizontal sliders. Let's use an object and give a bunch of it out. Big Unsurprisingly, people like the capital accented A's for big ammo. This one looks like it has a bullet on top. This one matches the double dots. Same thing. Want these to be cycle 1 for sure. Again, with the buttons, it doesn't super matter. Big ammo. Don't do anything. You're touched. Say 30. Say. I don't know. No. Not liking it going low pitch. Ag. Higher pitch. Yeah, that ain't bad. You do anything else? Oh, yeah, right. The pretzel had a message too when we picked. Not a delicious box of ammunition. Plus 30 ammo. I don't like you just repeating the default sound effects. I think it is fun to just play around a little bit. Do one more pretzel. Probably don't need it. If my game's a little easy, so be it. I'll figure out the balance later. I'm gonna keep this just towards the top because it's pretty pointless to down here. Ah, but now I'm looking at the colors. Let me flip these. Because realistically speaking, the player's going to go for red first, because there's going to be a whole bunch of them. These will be white. These will be red. Okay. Things are looking okay. Oh, we never did the, this thing. Weird tiger be gone. Tiger be gem. Oh yeah, actually, you know, I did forget. Before I was counting my characters to go from one button character to another, if you start typing the jar command and you hit Control A, which is usually how you insert any special characters into the text, it'll bring this up, and if it sees the char command, it'll just type it in as the number, so you can just pick a character directly. X. Go with a plus, and it'll look like it rotates a little. I'll recycle this sound effect. 6-5. Change tiger. Blue gem. Magic. And I don't feel like doing the 50 funny messages, so we'll just have it locked when you touch it. I won't do anything about the bullets that the tigers may have fired, so you're not out of danger yet. Yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with this. I wouldn't mind putting something else here, but it's going to be something that you can come back to later, so let's not worry too much about that. You know what? Let me do one. Or no. We're good. Thinking about some other ideas. I'll tell you what, I'm going to be right back in a few minutes. Pick this up. We'll move on to our third board. And we're going to start doing some more interesting obstacles that aren't just enemies. So, hang on tight. I'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Hey, well, we are indeed making the game. I'm just doing a little Darby-Like, a 3x3 I gotta say, I'm not getting town vibes from this. I don't know what the theming would be, but, you know. You can say these are buildings. Maybe. It ain't easy, but it doesn't have to be realistic, so. It is a bit zoo-like, at least in terms of variety. We're going to head to board number 3 here for us. We're going to focus on some obstacles. Same as before. Line up our exits. Say we want to add a board. Oh yeah, actually, last time I added the board and then connect it. You can actually just add a board directly from here. Say a board to the left and say that's going to be a new board. This one, at least, is easy to do the theme. Good old-fashioned construction. Reciprocate our board links. I spelled construction wrong. We'll go back here into the board info and spell it correctly. How about some blue? Down here. Get them out of this corner. Thinking for board connections. Okay, somewhere roughly top center. Build out the shape a bit. I'm gonna do new here. We're gonna put some blink walls here. We're gonna cut the player off from backtracking for a little bit. Make this basically a one-way path with blink walls where they're able to run through it fast enough this way, but they won't be able to run against it. From there, maybe we can do something with spinning guns. Break this up. Some chambers too. Sliders or something. I'm spitballing here. As you can see, my notes didn't get super far on this one. Some of these have like shapes. This one really doesn't. You know, again, I've been doing a lot of right angles. This is the only curve in the game so far. Let's add some level of things being diagonal. Figure out a shape here. You know what? Here. A big pile of dirt. I was gonna put it in kind of a container. It's better just lying on the ground. We'll cut the corners. That looks good. Well, let's slide it over. Okay, this is the part where things are coming a bit clear for me. Another similar shape. Maybe here. You can see also that I'm saving constantly. Force of habit. I will just do this anytime like I have a thought. The ideal way to do it. Maybe we'll still do some kind of monsters or some fighting. I don't know. I just like the idea of some slightly different obstacle here. Small. That's not looking very good. That's a little better. Make this spot a little more congested. Off a bit. There's one more thing for like this spot right here. Let's do another tile coming off from the side. Okay. That looks like something. We'll figure out something for the player to do in there before they head out. So first, want to do some link walls. Gonna be a terrain. 3 L for blink wall. And these guys, they have some properties. We want the ray, the beam, to fire to the south. We just hit enter, it'll cycle through 5 directions. Realistically, you only want 4. Start time period. So this just kind of gives us an offset for when to start ticking. Start with this. Period is going to be how long it lasts. This is definitely something that I'm going to need to test to figure out if I have remotely right. Cannot imagine how exactly this is going to look and how long it's going to be. But the idea here is the delay, the starting point, not going to be backward. No, that should be good. This ray will fire on, then immediately after this one, it'll go like that. That also means when this goes off, these all go off. That order. I'm going to keep inserting this into the buffer. I only have to adjust it once. Oop, I had myself muted for a second. I do want to actually test this, because this is so easy to screw up. I already know that, like, if anything so far is going to break, it's going to be this. So wherever you save your game last in vanilla ZZT, that's the board the player's going to start on, which makes it easy to debug. We just save our game, switch back to ZZT, open it up. See, what does this look like? Practice. Oh yeah, that looks okay. Okay. Honestly, be even tighter if time. I don't think we can make it now. There's no way we're going to make it back. Oh god. ZZT has a bug with its blink walls. And unfortunately, I have these arranged I'm gonna move these blink walls. I'm gonna make them shoot up instead of down because of that. Well, I think it's pretty generous given, because you can just hold the button and like, yeah. We can leave it like that. I'm not asking for this to be like the most difficult thing imaginable. Okay, we'll go back to the editor. I'm gonna copy and paste. Well, I'm gonna cut and paste. Guys down here. This will also force the player to approach it from a slightly higher spot. North. North. Just mash enter through this. ZZT does a bad job with its link walls like that. Plus, we got opportunity for more blink walls. There's still more real estate here. Let me try testing that. Okay, yeah, no, that feels fair. It could be tighter, but it doesn't need to be. Sorry, what? Don't recall blink walls being this busted. I mean, we got an easy fix. We can toggle re-enter when zapped. Yeah, let's do that, because we've got a nice spot here. This can be a shortcut past a certain point. Let's put a door. I said trim. Easy to tell what color it is. We're using green over here for the door that we don't use. Okay. Let's go back to our board info. Re-enter one's out. Okay, I did turn that on. Oh, wait, where's my window? Sorry. Added this little door. Went into the options for the board info. Turned on re-enter when zapped. Okay, so maybe speed will be our thing here. If we want, we might even put a time limit on it. Because once we have re-enter when zapped on, the time limit's not the worst idea in the world. Yeah, let's go real obstacle course mode. Let's shut off shooting. One of my big complaints about ZZT these days is that re-enter when zapped in maximum shots, that stuff isn't indicated to the player. They don't know until they get got. They won't. They'll try to shoot the lion, discover that they're arbitrarily not allowed to fire on this board. The lion will then bite them and send them back to the beginning of the board. And both of those things, the player had no way of knowing. That's not ideal. When I'm playing with my custom fork ZZT called Solid HUD for streaming purposes, that information does get added to the sidebar, but that's not how it usually goes. So I would like to alert the player. I'm going to put a nice little scroll here. Oh, still have my colors on something fancy. Normal scroll color, please. I guess we haven't actually really done much with text. Are all injuries in this work area? I don't know, I'm trying to flavor it a bit. Hard hat required. Let's just be direct first and foremost. Workplace injuries. Firearms prohibited. So if a text is more than one line, it'll show up in these scroll windows instead of flashing on the bottom of the screen. We got to see both in Darbytown. The one bit of text formatting ZZT supports is if a line begins with a $sign, the text will appear in white and will also be centered. Let's say work area. Work area, workplace injuries will lead you getting fire prohibited. Management. Now they know. Trying to decide where I like this. I think yeah, we can actually off. Yeah, let's do something like this. Put transporter here. Color that out. The transporter to shoot us to the east. If nothing is blocking a transporter, the player will just be dropped off on the other side. But if the transporter is blocked, it'll look for an exit on the other side. This. So now the player will go through here to get the key. And if they're good about it, they can just go through this transporter. But if they get hit after they pick up the key, no big deal. We'll be able to go through here. And we'll workshop it. So I'm thinking, I want this to be green if this is going to be on the bottom here in green, actually. Haven't used cyan yet. I'm thinking do some ricochets. We'll leave that one out. Or no, let's do it. We'll do them pairs. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have some objects shoot some bullets here. Have them shoot in opposite direction. We'll see what that looks like in practice. We want these guys to be shooting right away and then to disappear. They're kind of just a placeholder. Edit will let you directly place bullets. Just place a bullet from this menu. Say it's firing north, and it was shot from a creature. And then that'll just do it for us. But the more classic way, for back, excuse me, for back when you couldn't do such things, you just have some objects shoot north and get rid of themselves. So we're gonna. These are gonna act in the order they're on. Very specifically. make them, well, maybe not invisible. I don't like these smiley. You're gonna see the smiley face when you first enter. So that, change you. Okay. North, south. North, south. North, south. North, south. If we got 2, we can. I think this will actually preserve the stat order, the order that we place those objects down. I hope so. Clear out our buffer a bit. Put in something for like some bonus points if you move into these little out of the way areas that otherwise you would have no reason to want. What's a good item to find in a town or a city that would give you some bonus points? What would be good for that? Bag of money? Old watch? Social status in a can? Define city. You're excited if you were walking downtown and all of a sudden, what was that lying on the ground in front of you? It was, I don't know, let's look at our characters. Exactly, we gotta get silly with it. You know what? If we make the penny a wheat penny, I'll be on board. We'll make it play an elaborate tune when you pick it up, like, wow. Yeah, let's do a penny. I'll change that color, now that we know. Crusted beer stein. There is going to be some more, some more room on the next board, I think, for playing with stuff like that. Let's go with a penny. Okay, we know the drill by now. Don't execute code. Do something when touched. Give. I want to at least have some presence. We'll give them 100 points. Funny as it would be to give them 1, you are taking a risk going out of the way here. As much as I do want it to be 1 score, I don't want to discourage players from exploring. Yeah, but we're getting rid of the penny now, so they're going to be rare and valuable. Think of all the copper. This could be like a penny from the 80s when they were like all copper. Let's give the points. Vintage 1982. Did I say points or score in these other things? Where were my... Or no, we haven't said points. We've just been saying health. Ammo. I get to decide now. Points feels correct. We've got to give it an elaborate tune. Again, we'll lock it. We'll make it cycle 1 so it goes fast. That's also true. Nobody says this game has to be that polished. This is where my actual inability to do more than pressing random buttons becomes difficult. Try that triplet thing. Like, combines 3 notes, give or take. What does this sound like? Pardon? That. This is where it's struggling. Ooh, that's actually a good penny sound at the end. That gets a little too shrill. Let's try 1 and 2 octaves. See, now that sounds shrill. Oh, because that's 1 and 3. Right. Oh, that's almost something. Dun 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 dun. Should be a. Not quite. Dun 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 dun. I'm just not getting it. I want. Okay. Yeah, KevEdit isn't perfect on this. I'm gonna go with that for now. We have to change it later. We'll change it later. Now, I could, of course, like I said, put down multiple pennies, as we've been doing with other objects. But I also said I might want to change this, and if I have a bunch of pennies with this music, then I gotta change every single one. So we're gonna use a new command. I'm gonna make something that looks like a penny. Still set it to cycle 1 all. And instead of writing any code, we're going to tell this object to bind penny. And when it hits that line, it'll just point all of its code over to this. So if we update this message or score or whatever, that penny will be updated as well. Bind is not copying the code into that object. It is pointing to this. So we saw before with using Zap Touch. If we did this what we saw before, same time touching, then you start getting into some unexpected behavior. Because when this gets zapped, when you touch the other penny, it would see itself as zapped. Jump down to here. So that's a big limitation of ZZT that causes a lot of trouble, especially with like action games, where you can't just have a bunch of enemies that take multiple shots unless you do duplicate the code and then you run out of memory. Here, it'll work great because it's just an object that gets touched once. Then you don't have to think about it. So I have some pennies here. There we go. Give them a reason to go into that corner. You know what? We can teach them about transporters a bit here, too. Amcos, thank you for raiding. Welcome on in, everybody. Welcome, raiders. We've been playing some ZZT today, and after playing through Darbytown, we decided we're going to make a game of our own. For the past hour or so, I've been here in the KevEdit ZZT editor, putting together a little game for folks, showing everybody how easy it is to actually make a game out of ZZT here. We're doing a little city adventure, going through the construction zone here. Just putting in some transporters there, run through a little bullet gauntlet here. Oh wait, I think we might just do some more built-in monsters, but because they're not allowed to shoot, they're suddenly much more threatening. So I think we'll give them this space down here as a gentle lead up. I don't want to do tigers because that can be a bit much. That can get out of hand pretty fast. We haven't actually used bears at all yet. That could be better. I'm just gonna go with a few ruffians, because ruffians are always very scary in this situation. We're gonna make them turn down the intelligence so they're not super focused on the player, especially since the player is gonna be generally in the southeastern part of the board to begin with. We'll turn down the resting time. We'll make them pretty erratic. Ruffians here. These boys run the construction crew. They've got their hard hats on. They'll kick you out if they find you. Oh, actually, change our message here about that. This still seems playing the return to the start. All persons not wearing a hard hat will be escorted from Is that right? I'm doubting myself because I'm on stream. Or am I? It is I. ISES. There we go. Okay, that looks so much more correct now that I see it. I hope you appreciate my incredible spelling, everybody. Oh, there's another that we score. Okay, yes. Get hit, go back to the start. Let's do a little pretty pattern. Not liking the red blending. Let's make it yellow instead. There we go. Color. Oh, I mean, it's. Oh, yeah. Well, we'll have to. It's not the worst thing. Basically, I don't want players to do this backwards. I guess it's not really a big deal if I just open up a shortcut. Basically interferes with my plans later on. My idea, here's my rough world map, is that the park board, you'll enter it from here. It'll be a gate here that prevents you from originally accessing it from the south until you get to this side. Similarly, or no, that's right. This is what I wanted to change towards the end. That's why one of those was missing. Then we get a split path here. Go north or east. But if I let the player go back through here, then there's no reason they can't like take this long way and not even make the connection that this way will lead back to you. You want to restrict it somehow. I mean, I could just have an object. Close this off. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I think ammo should still be good, especially since you can't shoot on the board. Go with this. Anything else decorative we can do? Oh, what if we put some boulders in the pile of stuff? This will make it look a bit more like an irregular mound. Yeah. That's called details. These squares, they paint a picture. Too many squares. That looks okay. Get your key. Be able to go here. So that while you're still conquering this board, pardon? Go through here. This will be your back. Here's how we'll do this. Now, of course, we don't want the player going through this transport yet. Hold standby. A different slider. Let's try and do something. Here, we'll teach them about pushers also. The boulders paint a picture. The picture is rectangular because the boulders are squares. Yes, okay. Pusher here. This isn't anything. I kind of wanted to do something with pushers. Maybe for the last section here. Oops, let's just put one ammo. There's wise enough to not push this first by mistake. Now we got a nice little loop here that leads back to this. Okay, I think I know what I want to do. I'm gonna make a bit of an S shape. How about some green? And that doesn't look like it's against a wall. We'll just go with that. Oh, but I can't do... The re-enter when zapped is getting rid of my idea here. I was thinking of having it so when the player passes like a certain point here, some pushers start pushing, and then they're forced to run through this part here, past some creatures. But if they get hit, they're not going to be back. Well, no, if there's as long as it's short enough. Yeah, I think that should be fine. We never actually did anything with spinning guns. Well, you know, that's what this bottom part can be. Yes. Guns. Intelligence high. Lower. See what that looks like when I actually start testing. Here. There. Well, then you would just push it into the top row. Hide behind. May just make it more of a classic obstacle course. We'll just put some water down. We'll use Kevedit's cooler water. Give them some wiggle room, because just one tile, and the odds that they're going to actually be stuck aren't great. Like this. Again, no real reason to go here. Well, you know what? Let's just do another door. Because I want the player to leave from around here anyway, so I think we can just flip that part. Close this off. Open it more so over here. Another key here. Okay, this is coming together. Then they have to make it back. Hopefully these guns won't be too much. That's another part that could really end up needing some fine-tuning. Okay, then they can open up this one. Here's how we'll do it. That's fine. We'll live with a tiny bit of wasted space. We can put some gems there. Okay. Here. All that gets erased. I feel like I've been relying on sliders for that too much. Pushers pointing west. Sliders. Fill that area with F. 3 wide. Okay, yeah, so now even when these run all the way through, as long as you don't get caught. Maybe we should do more spinning guns here. And now it's like, hey, go forward quickly. Or else. I think that'll work. So we need to do a bit of a tripwire here. Oh, this will have to be slightly over there. 3 tiles will get blocked. I don't know if there's anything. This. That way you'll still... Don't want it to soft lock them, but I won't mind if it locks. It regular locks on them. Why don't we just have like a button here? That's what we'll do. Button here, that'll... Get rid of a wall here. I'm trying to think this through. I'm worrying too much about polish is my problem. It's okay to have just a quick animation of something disappearing or appearing. Let's see. You know what? This is a great way to teach them how energizers work. Okay, there we go. This will work good. Put another button here. Let's grab our button from the previous port, because that's half the work already. See you, Snorb. Thanks for sticking around. That means you might not be spoiled when the game is finished. And okay, so I get the goof we did. I don't actually care about repeating that. There's a button that you press once. Okay, I think we're going to do something we haven't done yet with our code. We're going to make an object send a message to another object. So we're going to use the send command. We're going to send an object, any object, that has the name gate to the label toggle. As a shortcut, you don't actually need to write send. You can just do that. But for clarity, we'll put send. And we'll have here, it will look like we're going to have a second one. I kind of like the double arrow. We don't have a good one for vertical orientation. Let's just go with whatever then. Name it Kate. Doesn't do anything. So it's told to toggle. This one will open up. Do. So it has a little corner to tuck into. A couple things here. First, we're going to move east. Flash will tell you how to move things north, south, east, west. Seek towards the player. Whole bunch of stuff there. Op seek away from the player. Nice thing is you can also stack it. Well, not F. This is all one valid line. What we're gonna move east once. We're going to put to the north an empty tile. We're basically gonna draw the curtain away here, clearing this part up 5 times. I'm just gonna copy and paste. Have this guy lock so the player can't interrupt things. Yeah. If we didn't lock this, the player could push the button again when it's in the middle of doing things here. The object would restart from the top of that label and start moving too far. Don't want that, so that's why we locked that. 5 of these. And then we're going to have it run right back into place. 2, 3, 4, 5 back. Yeah, I don't know why it would not be 5 back after moving 5 in one direction. 5 west. Only thing I don't like is the solid wall. I'm gonna go into the. You can just put a boulder, honestly. Actually, no, I don't want to do a boulder because I'm going to do this down here too. I don't want the player to push the boulder from. Let's just go. I mean, we can't shoot on this board. Let's just go with a breakable wall. Won't actually be breakable. Nothing to break it. 5 back. Done. I want this to be at cycle 1 because I like this process to be quick and not something the player really has to wait for. And grab the same object. One here. This one, when it gets sent to the toggle message, will instead move down. So, south once, put a wall, twice, 3 times, 3 walls, and move back into place. Okay. Only thing I still don't like is that this character, somebody might actually think it's a hard hat when they're told that they need to wear a hard hat. So let's just go with an arrow. Simple as that. Okay. Down. Now we're in true ZZT mode because, like, it's 3 o'clock and I haven't eaten lunch. I had a granola bar on break. Tell you what, I'm gonna jump around slightly. Instead of doing this board, because this board is still a bit vague, I'm gonna do the middle board, because the middle board I want to be peaceful, basically. So that I can hammer out quick, especially since I had a rough layout to begin with the other day. But we gotta make sure the exits line up here. Let's stick with this. I'm gonna actually copy this board. It's gonna be our shop board, and then we're skipping. This will be our actual park, for real, for real. And you can see we've got 2 players because I copied and pasted. Gonna nuke the other one. So we need to go all the way back towards the beginning, our monster room. We need to make sure the exit lines up. 46 through 48. We're off. Let me make a mark. 46 through 48. That's where we need to be. This around a bit. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. So if a player early on, get rid of this, and we'll connect the boards. If a player early on wants to try heading north, they're going to find out that they can't because they're blocked. They're going to get to see this. They're going to be able to be like, oh man, I want to get to that board. And they'll have to wait. I'm going to actually put the player here, even though they're going to be entering from the west, because I don't quite know where that entrance is going to be yet. Board only connect directions. I want to move this up. I want to do something a bit more curved again. I would need to also move all this up. Yeah, this doesn't look so bad with this little bend here. Got it. Something a bit more like this for our shape. I want these walls to be a bit thick. Ah, I left drawing on. Erase that with delete. Draw it back in properly. I believe I made these fake walls. No, normal walls. Okay. The player has to keep off the grass. Might change that. Again, I don't really want this board to be anything challenging. There's already going to be a shop to the west, so I don't really want to add to shopping it here. I wouldn't mind putting some people down. Another gate. I failed to consider that this one is significantly wider. That's fine. And these are going to lead to the same board. Matter. I think we'll leave that, because I was thinking for the other board adjacent to it, having it be similar to what we did with the southern board, letting you peek in here. Or no, I decided I was going to leave that open in the end. But yeah, it can all be opened up. Let's do... We'll make some levers to open these up. We can color code them. We'll leave the yellow on the bottom. Crank up the speed a bit. 47 to 92. So our lever, we'll call it. Don't do anything. But when you get touched, lock yourself, because you pulled once. Change characters. Play a sound. Again, this is where Kev edits. Not perfect sound playback. Like that. And say yellow open. Yellow open. Let's have it just kind of open up in a fun way instead of just disappearing. We'll have this one move north and west. Have the rightmost one move north and east. Have this one move. Copy the object. This one move north twice. Wait a bit. With idle, we'll tell it to not do anything, to just wait. And then we'll have that one vanish. It's just not in the way. This guy, we're going to change. These are empty right now. Let's go with a blue. Blue, open. We'll just move south. This one will move south, southwest. This one south, 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 west, west. Same thing, but flipped to the east. Grabbing the previous object so I can get away with minimal editing. Oh no, that one doesn't need a lever for you in blue. Change our color. Change our message. Oh, like I said, you don't have to write the send command if that kind of defaults to assuming you want to send. Or there. Let's see what this looks like. Now I am realizing how hungry I am, so I think I'm just gonna call it after this once this is working. game. Gotta remember that Kev Edit has blinking water, which I don't particularly care for by default. Let's see what this looks like. Well, that took a while to disappear, but... And this one? That looks nice. Half bad. Okay. I'm pretty satisfied with that. Let's just try running through what we've got here once. There's still plenty of placeholder. Pardon? Oh, right, my title screen has a duplicator. Okay. Change the starting board. We'll see what we have so far. We'll get an idea for just how out of whack the spinning guns are and stuff. Makes it easier to fix for next time. Introduce some good items and a roadblock. This guy's not coded yet. You're going to be looking for missing accessories for a statue. Get a top hat, a cane, and a tie. Have to... I think we'll have him be like, oh yeah, if you want to get past that stuff, you should just shoot it. Have him spell that out. The lions are indeed keeping their distance. Health power up. Pretzel. Board should connect. This should put me on the bottommost spot on the adjacent board, and it does. These lines are clearly much more focused on following the player. Right. Expert marksman. This should open up the red sliders, the double arrows in the corner there. Oh, do we get our funny message if we keep pressing the button? Great. Ooh, ammo can actually get... Well, no, because even if we run out here, still get this no matter what. We don't actually need the ammo. A smart player will not go this way, but I'm going to be stupid and see what happens. So we're going to use most of our ammo just shooting through walls. Maybe I should make these gems ammo, though. I'd run out. Oh, our centipedes are really piling up down there, too. They're slowly getting out of the way. Good. Centipedes aren't much of a threat, even if you're not shooting them. Press our next button. Opens. Yeah, we can leave these guys be, honestly. So now I can get this stuff. The breakable walls here. Watch out for all the ruffians. Try and get a clear path. Ah, now I hadn't thought about how this row of breakables means it's a little shield from the tigers too, so I might be able to turn them up to be a bit more aggressive with shields. They're not. Yeah, they're very pretty lax. Lax enough too that it's very easy to just defeat them. That's fun. I've never seen anything like that in my early days online. I do like the idea of clicking too much and the website getting annoyed. That turns the tigers into gems, but there's probably not going to be any tigers. What I might do is either up their firepower and numbers, Maybe sprinkle somewhere elsewhere? I'm half tempted to put some in that locked up room that we can't get into yet. Because then for sure, they will be gems and not tigers. And now we are very stocked up on ammo. And health. Very gentle game. So far. See about this. I was also considering putting a time limit on this board. That's probably not really worth it because the time limit will be reset if you get hit. And if you get to the shortcut here, then the time limit's really going to cease to matter. This is something you can actually get through. I wanted to do more than just have them be in perfect sync. I thought it would look nicer, and it does look nicer having the bullets bounce opposite each other like this. Do you have the time? Oh, it is tight. Okay, the difficulty did just ramp up here. Yeah, our penny sound effect isn't half bad. Okay, if you kind of take it gentle. I am actually pretty satisfied with this ricochet section. Oh, that guy got a little too close. Oh, right, I can't shoot on this board. Maybe instead of a key, I should use like a bomb. I can put some like breakable walls, because the player will know about breakable walls. But then they'll see that they can't shoot. Maybe I'll tweak that with the sound effect. I am just very much key mashing. Oh yeah, this is actually a bit scary to have to do multiple times. Hang on. I'll be down here. Yeah, these ruffians are too aggressive, so they're really clumping up together, and that kind of defeats them being scary here, because they're actually quite scary there, where I do need to go. But if I get away with it, oh, or if I don't. But now I don't need to go back in. I'll miss out on my 5 ammo. How is this? This is, okay, clearly tuned a little high. Probably still doable. Oh, see, now they're shooting a bit less. Yes, that is a bit tight. That, I think, should definitely be. But yeah, can be done. Gotta know what you're doing. Oh, we never made anything actually trigger the pushers here, did we? Yeah, so you don't have these guys, and these would also need to be turned down for sure. But at the same time, well, maybe it can be a extra difficult thing, because, like, the pushers will just block them all off. You either get hit once, or not at all. This is a bit tough, because they are getting pretty... Yeah, no. These guys definitely need to be turned down. I would still like to do it. Yeah. Well, that gives us a good idea of what we need to do next time. Oh, we got it. Okay, our little curtains open and close. We don't have a board north here. We can check the Actually, this is... Oh, yeah, yeah, okay. There's still... they can shoot breakable, so that can work as a bit of a buffer. Yeah, so the re-enter wins out, does not care what is on that tile now. Oh, does that actually eat the breakable? Because I am able to go back here. Oh, it does. So I can't enter the board from here. Okay, so that's another issue. Well, we did see that the park levers worked, so there's really nothing to do there. Okay. Ah, what's going on over here? I'll never know. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. I think this was a nice little stream. I think we've got us a decent little game on this way. And it's quite easy to do. Thank you, ZZT. We're gonna move over here to our credits. Belong to someone else. I'll get a raid going in a minute. But thank you all for watching today. I appreciate the raids and follows and all that. Much support. Very helpful. For all that again. We will be back again on Friday, where I'm going to be playing some more ZZT games based on classic DOS games, along with the classic games themselves. I'm going to be looking at some Quake and Doom for ZZT, which are... well, I mean, you just saw a ZZT game. Yeah, David N's there. He's a longtime ZZTer. Back in the olden days. Yeah, you saw what ZZT looks like. That ain't Quake. That ain't Doom. And, nobody's best efforts, especially in the 90s, were particularly close to capturing that experience. So, previously for these, I've been starting with the original game and then playing the ZZT game, but I think that's just going to be much more of a letdown. So we're going to start with the ZZT game next week, play some Doom and Quake ZZT, say, ah yes, this was not the brightest idea, and then we'll play some fun games instead. I will say that the Doom ZZT game has some fun, like, ASCII demon art, at least going for it. I don't think the Quake game has much of anything of interest, honestly, other than, like, it's got the logo. That'll be then. Next Sunday, I think we'll just pick up where we left off with this. Hopefully be able to finish something or get a lot closer to it. It's very difficult to estimate how long these things take. But I think we should hopefully be able to get it 90% of the way there. And again, all month long, I'm just doing some random DOS game streams whenever, as I feel. I was actually playing some Doom the other day, looking at Crimson Horror, one of the CAC Award winners for this year. I might jump back into that. Probably not tonight, just because of how late this stream has already ran on for, but maybe throughout the weekend. Days. Any of that seems interesting to you, feel free to give a follow. Of course, if you are interested in making a ZZT game yourself, because as you have seen, it's such an easy thing to do. You can make some fun little games, too. Take a look at the Museum of ZZT over on museumofzzt.com. There's plenty of guides and resources there, plenty of worlds to look at for examples, plenty of more complicated games that go above and beyond the kind of basic gameplay I've been doing here. Basic gameplay is very easy. You don't really need to know much of anything about the code. Oh, well, Bison. You don't need to know much of anything about the coding language, and quite frankly, if you're an adult, you can grasp ZZT pretty quick, especially for, move this object, make this thing change colors or whatever, simple stuff. And of course, lastly, we do have a Discord as well for the ZZT community. If you're looking for interesting games to play this December or otherwise, feel free to stop on in there, as well as any help making any games yourselves. We'd love to have you there. So, I thank you all one last time for watching, and hope to see you all next time. Later.